Hello, so this is a quick video, hopefully quick, of me just showing you how I make the Cricut side of these little inserts. I am not professional, I'm not great or glorious, I just am too cheap to keep buying all the inserts I want. So if this helps you, awesome. Just know that all my designs are completely editable, so just click on the link, save it, and change it to whatever you need. So they're a great template. And I'll just kind of tell you some tips and tricks along the way that I learned the hard way, that hopefully you won't. So this one I try to make them double-sided just because I'm cheap. And also I use cereal boxes to try to save some money to make them a little bit thicker. And then I have been laminating them to make them a little bit more sturdier. So those are things that you got to keep in mind if you're going to use this method, because if you're not going to laminate, you just need to make a few changes. Super easy, and I'll kind of tell you along the way. So first things first is I'll show you. So this is the final product, but I'll show you how I got there. So right here, if you scroll to my side, I have what I call the small bin. Now these are all for the small bin. I have not figured out the large bin yet, how I want to do it. But these are all for the small bins. They fit perfectly inside. Now, like I was commenting before, if you're not going to laminate them, this size dimension here needs to be a little bit bigger. Okay, and I can, if you want those size dimensions, I think it's like 11.2 by 7.8. The reason I have it a little bit smaller is because after you laminate, you need to leave a little edge around where it's sealed. So you got to cut it a little wider. So if I made it the size of the lid, I learned the hard way, I cut too close and then laminate peels. So if you're going to not laminate them, if your kid's older and you're not too worried that they're going to mess up the insert, then, or you just want to be a little bit more environmentally friendly, just know you need to make those a little bit bigger or else they'll just fall in. I have the dimensions written down somewhere. You just let me know if you want those and I can send them to you. So first things first is to decide which way, so this is a basic template, which way you want it to face. Horizontal would be like if the kids are sitting at the desk and it's horizontal and they can kind of get to the two bins on the side. If you want to turn it vertical, you just rotate it. And then this would be, so like if you want it to be something taller like a tree or something like that, now the kids are going to play with it a little bit different. So you just got to keep in mind how you want it to lay out. I've noticed that I've been liking more horizontal lately so that they could get into like the two sides at the same time, the scooping part into it. So I've been doing the letters of the rainbow, or not letters of the rainbow, letters of the alphabet and also the rainbow, but so the M was for mermaid, that's why I picked that. And I've noticed a lot of people doing the let it grow kind of thing with the flower pot, and I was like, well, let me try one to see if my kids are interested. Once again, you might need to modify some of the ideas. So first thing I did is I went into images. Now I might not copy that exact design, but I'm going to show you how I got there. So you can go to images and type in anything you want. So mermaid. And then I just picked, this is if you pay for the Cricut ones. If not, there's an upload tool. If you don't know how to do that, I can show you too. Just ask me and I can send a video. Upload tool that you can upload like any image from online. So if you don't pay for the Cricut thing, don't do it because I did it. But there's 1,000 mermaids on here, you know, pick your choice. I think I picked this one right here and add to canvas. So what I did is I decided first which one I needed to be a certain way. So I was like, okay, I'm going to want a mermaid, and then I decided I want a flower pot. The flower pot was a little bit harder, but I'm just going to pick a different one so you guys can see. Okay, flower pot. There's one at the very end, but let's see. I'm just going to pick one basic one, like this one. Okay. I have mine doing what I call the pen draw. So this one will be mermaid, and this will be flower pot. Sorry, this is not my best video I've made. I'm a little rusty. So I'm doing mine on white cardstock and having my Cricut pen draw it because I was wasting too much ink on my printer, and my printer can't do large enough sizes. So what I would end up having to do is print it out, cut it out, and then glue it on. So I decided let's just go black and white, and then I'd add accents to make the color pop. Kind of like the same idea as the wooden ones are like one color. I would do the same thing. My Cricut, the pen takes a little bit longer, but I like how good it looks at the end. It looks kind of fancy. So if you're going to do I'll show you two ways. This way would be the draw it method, and I could do the flower pot where if you want to print out some color on yours. So I could show you both ways. So if you're going to have it print, you're going to change the basic cup at the top to pen. Oh, sorry, if you're going to have it draw it. I apologize for all the mistakes. Like I said, I used to make all these teaching videos and I'm a little rusty. So here's my little mermaid. And I want this one to be all drawn with the Cricut pen. And then this one, I don't mind it doing print to cut. So I'm going to change this to do print then cut. So that means my Cricut's going to cut it out like a little piece, and I'm just going to glue it right onto the cardstock where I want it. You know, that's if you want some color, some pizzazz, you know. Or you can even cut it on brown cardstock, you know, get creative. When I did my original design, I just did it drawing, but you know what, maybe I'll mix it up, and I haven't finished this one anyways. So from here, I decided, okay, what is my thing? I'm going to copy this twice. Now keep in mind, you're going to edit this later. This is just a template to let you know. From here, you can arrange that to the top. What you want to do is decide which one has like the basic hole cutouts you want that is more important. So for me, I decided, hey, I'm going to put string, some kind of like a thick string, more like yarn, in her hair and have my kids just kind of comb her hair and braid it. I thought that'd be cute for Little Mermaid. So I decided I need holes that look like a pot. This is kind of the hard part, is designing like how to get it to be double-sided. So I was like, okay, I don't want the holes to like go through her face, you know, that'd be a little weird. So what I did is I created a bunch of these little circles to cut out. I made them kind of small. I like this size of 0.3, makes it so that they don't have to like pull out the insert. Really like yank hard. It slides pretty good with like a thin yard, especially pipe cleaners works really well with that size. I know it looks really small, but it's not. So I have it cutting out, and I kind of place them all over the Little Mermaid. You see that? I'm not going to do them all, so you just do shapes, make a circle, and cut. Now I'm sharing all these designs. This is for someone who wants to like edit theirs or see the whole process. So those are all the circles. Okay. And then, let's see, let me just make a few more circles just so you guys can get the basic idea. So I placed a bunch in her hair. The reason I placed it like this in her hair is because I'm going to use those same circles as the flower spots for my pot. Okay. So there it is. That's where my yarn's going to come out, and then when I flip it over, that's where the pot is. So like I said, this one was a temporary one, so we're not ready to use it yet. Then I have to decide, okay, what else do I want this insert to do? Yes, it pulls out yarn, but I tend to make, I'm going to add seashells, and I'm going to have the seashells go through this little slot. So I made like a rectangle shape. There you go. And I added it to there. This is the thickness, like I said, you could use mine. I got these like thin seashells from the dollar store, and they fit well. Also like laminate pieces that I cut tend to fit through that size. You want to be careful to not add too many holes to your insert, because then it's not very stable. So less holes the better in theory, but you still want to add some because that's what makes it fun. So here's my basic mermaid layout. Once again, this is my basic one. Okay. From here, what's very important, you need to do what I call attach it. You're going to highlight, select all, and then right click and hit attach. There you go. Alright, so now that's all attached. When you put in your piece of cardstock, I'll even turn this white so you guys can know that this whole thing is going to be white when we're done. You don't have to do this part, this is just for me to show you. We're going to print this whole thing on white cardstock. It'll draw the little mermaid, it'll cut out the circle holes and the rectangle. Now remember, the goal is to make these double-sided on the cardstock. So double-sided means this is the most important step that when I forget to do it, I get so mad. We're going to copy and paste this, and this is once again the most important step. Right here where it says flip, I need you to hit flip horizontal. Because remember, it's going to flip over. So if you do it the same way, the holes won't match up. So you need to flip it over. So now you can remove the Little Mermaid. And that is your new, we're not going to use this base anymore, flower pot. So we're going to select that and slowly resize it. If you can't see, you just simply arrange to the top. And rotate. Okay. Now your goal is to not hit the little things. go. And so that way they could put little flowers in there. See how like now it's double-sided? Yes, I would have normally, if I was doing a one-sided one, put more dots here and things. But by doing it double-sided, one less insert, less harmful on the environment if I can double-sided. I added this Bloom and Grow. You just simply go to images. There's so many things on images, or just take it from online, you know, do your thing. No need to recreate the wheel. So like just write let it grow, whatever inspirational thing you want. And I did the same thing. Okay, I got let it snow, a lot of let it snow. Okay, we're gonna change this just to grow. It auto-corrected me, so let's see what cute sayings they have for us today. Grow away, keep growing. That's cute. So here's one. Add a canvas. I don't know. Let's say you like a butterfly. Here we go. I moved over here. Now remember, important. You gotta change this. It's not exactly what I would normally put. You gotta change this if you're gonna change it to pen. Okay. Now, before attaching these, it's very, very important that if you're not just having it draw on the insert, you gotta remove anything that's not being cut or used by the pen, because this will be cut separately. And if you attach it to this, it will cut through your paper insert. Not good. You don't want that. So anything that's going to be colored, take off. Only attach things that are pen and cut. So now that I have my pen stuff here, I cut, I hit right click and hit attach. Okay, there we go. So then this would cut on the side. You could either, like I said, do brown cardstock or print and cut. And then you would glue it on. Oops, let me arrange it to the front. Afterwards. Okay, you don't want it to cut onto here. So, yeah, glue it on afterwards. And then from here, the last thing when making an insert. Alright, so the white ones, we're going to have 2 white cardstock ones, and then 1 cereal box one. I'll change the color real quick so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So I use a thin cereal box in the Cricut. There's a setting on mine that does cereal boxes. It uses like the deep point cutter, I think it's called. To be honest, if your Cricut doesn't have those settings, just get a deep point Cricut cutter blade and just keep messing with the thickness until you find the right setting. You know, just like, okay, that setting wasn't thick enough. Try the next one. It does not have the fancy Cricut. So from here, you're going to want to remove the mermaid, but leave all of the cuts. And so what's going to happen is, step 1, we're going to print on cardstock the mermaid, where it draws out the mermaid and cuts out the circle. Step 2, print out second cardstock, where it draws a pen, all that. And step 3, this one will be cut out on a cereal box. What I do is I use the cereal box to sandwich my 2 cardstocks. And in the process of doing that, those 3 layers plus laminating it, they're pretty solid. They're not as good as a plastic or acrylic or wood insert by no means. And they're not necessarily even waterproof because of the little holes. But I have found them to be good enough. And when my kids are being a little bit more violent in the day, I add a little bit of blue tape around the edge, and I haven't had any issues. But my kids really enjoyed taking off the insert and putting it on, so, you know. And then to assemble, which on my next video will be assembly, I'm going to actually make this one right here in my next video. What you're going to do is, to assemble it, you're going to attach this one, glue it onto here, flip it over, attach this one onto the back, glue them all together. Glue this onto your pot, and then that's after the Cricut cuts them and everything, and then you put it through the laminator. And then when you laminate, after that, you're going to cut the laminate border around the edge, and then with like an X-Acto blade, cut the little holes. That's the hardest part. It doesn't look as fancy. My kids don't really care that it has a little bit of an edge, and they haven't poked their fingers yet on anything sharp. So, you know, keep in mind when you're doing this, your age bracket, you know. But yeah. Hopefully that video helps. I don't think I forgot anything. Oh, real quick, if let's say you wanted to add little mermaid